Good morning, and welcome to Your Business in Digital. I am Tamara Louis. Super excited to be here today. We have a jam-packed show for you. It's going to be so awesome. How are you guys doing? Michael, welcome back. Welcome back. How is the island of Barbados treating you today? No
Really
hate,
well,
no
thank
shade.
you. Really well, thank you. Loving the
It
sun,
looks
loving the
it
fun.
looks really good.
Boo.
Ooh, trying not to
Oh,
throw
and
shade on the vacation shine
I
he's
can't
got
say
over
boo.
They
there.
can't. They can't.
I say boo because he say I have sun by me too, so I can't say boo.
Correct,
All right,
correct.
Boo!
all right. Boo.
As I did in
All right.
California. I mean, just saying. Sorry.
All right, we're okay. So just a little bit of shade to Michael and Andrea on the islands, but we are here. Your business in digital. Super excited to start your show. Let's kick to the intro. Oh, technical difficulties. It wanted to do it again. I love that. Good morning, and welcome to Your Business in Digital. I am Tamara Louis, and I am super excited to be here at Your Business in Digital. We talk to you about digital marketing strategies that work, things that really connect all the dots for your marketing activities, and making sure that you're achieving your business goals through digital marketing. Luckily for me, I am always here with these amazing co-hosts of mine, and what we do is we really pull together a true small business, right? So we have finance in the building, Miss Andrea Ragu, the CFO, the virtual CFO, who is always talking about finance and how you can connect the dots and the analytics back to digital. Of course, we have Miss Michelle Gordon in the building talking about sales and pricing. Knowing your worth is important and how to get to those sales, how to get to those leads that make sense, right? Marketing qualified leads. And of course, we have Mr. Michael Wilshire in the building, who's also in Barbados right now. He helps us with the operations, keeping things flowing. How do you actually achieve the goal, right? What are the steps to get there? And I talk about marketing. I talk about all the digital marketing strategies, and we then connect those things to get you to a place of money in the bank. So, what I want you to do is I want you to tell people about this show because the show is amazing, right? You can tell a CFO, tell a CEO, tell a CMO, tell any business executive, tell a small business owner about this show. You can connect with us on YouTube, subscribe, watch us live there, catch us on the replay, catch us on LinkedIn. We're live on LinkedIn as well too, so check us out there. Or if you like to listen to podcasts, we're everywhere podcasts are found. So you can catch us in any of those places. What we want you to do is we want you to go back to your CFO and say, digital helped increase my revenue by 10%, by 20% year over year. We want to make sure that you are seeing the ROI because we know that you're spending a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort on your digital marketing activities. So we want to make sure it works for you. So let's go. Woo! This morning is going to be great because we have so many things happening. So we're going to move right into our hot topic segment. Who and today is that hot topic segment. Michael is talking to us about Starbucks.
Starbucks, correct, correct. So the new CEO wants to reposition Starbucks back to a premium brand. That's the hot topic today. Let's get into it. So after two successive quarters of less than stellar sales, the new CEO of Starbucks wants to reposition Starbucks back to a premium brand. And what that means is that they're going to have to make some changes. Now, where did they stray from? They strayed from, of course, going to that discount model and deal model, which was driven really by inflation, post-COVID, etc., and the thin margins that you get in that industry. So now they're looking at, of course, cutting back on discounts and deals. And that will be one of the major changes going forward as they try to get back to their core positioning as a premium brand. The other thing is that they want to get back to their community coffee house roots. So when Starbucks started, it was all about going there and staying, having a seat, enjoying your coffee, enjoying a dessert, having your laptop open. So it was really that community space, and that's really where they started. So they want to get back to those community roots. And why we're bringing this to you, of course, is because we've talked about some of these strategies here on the show before. And a discount strategy is a popular strategy that businesses, especially younger businesses, adopt in the hopes of driving those sales regularly. But in this Starbucks story, guess what? It absolutely shows that giving discounts does not guarantee growth. And secondly, more importantly, you've got to know your value proposition. So while we're talking about Starbucks getting back to their premium brand, it's going to mean a couple things. So they can't just say, okay, I'm stopping. They're not saying we're stopping the discounts and end of story. It's their value proposition. So they're going to do some reinvestment in the stores, making sure they're looking at decreasing that wait times, making sure that they are providing a high quality product, and as I said, a comfortable place to sit. So there may be some reworking of assets, etc. But overall, they know that their value proposition did not lie in that discount strategy. So that's the hot topic for today. It's really short, really sweet. And I understand that they've just posted their third quarter and it's still less than stellar. So this new strategy is not a guarantee, but it definitely shows that you can position, and discounting is not necessarily the way to go at all points in time. It served them a purpose for a while, and now they need to make a change. So that was the hot topic for today, and I hope you got some good points out of it. What do you all think?
Well, the sales and marketing, the sales and pricing girl over here loves this entire component for personal and professional reasons. On the personal side, I'll start there. I remember the days where I would go into Starbucks and just cop a squat, as we say in the South sometimes, where we literally would I would sit and enjoy myself. I come from, as I often say, I'm from New Orleans. There's a lot of local coffee and a lot of local coffee houses. And when I moved to the East Coast, those were not real prevalent. But Starbucks had that feel where you could get into a nice little cushiony chair. That varying versions of the I have a little bougie in me, I will admit, and sit down and have a good time and just relax, and the varying versions of coffee. But over time, you could feel the sense that they were moving into a different buying persona, and their value prop was different, and I was not exactly that target audience any longer. It became very loud. You could feel the tension in the place because people were moving in and out, and the loudness of it just wasn't a Michelle kind of place. But now, it's interesting how now all of those coffee shops are popping up. They're losing market share because of it, and it's almost the dry, the slightly higher version of fast food coffee in the way that they are treating people, and the way that they were packaging themselves. So it's nice to see that they're leaning into their other areas and what their home base was. And they really do have different types of coffee. There's a entire reserve coffee line that they have. They purchased Tivana. I don't even know if anybody realizes that they actually had acquired Tivana years ago and have, a tea line and all those components that go along with it. So it's really nice to see them leaning and actually trying to change the value prop again and find a different audience that will allow them to improve their bottom line. So, and it actually leans into what we're going to talk about later. So very nice, Michael. I really enjoyed this hot topic today.
Thank you. Thank you. Andrea, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so this is such an interesting where you actually see the theory that we're talking about live in business, right? Where even big businesses shift sometimes. And I think, one of the lessons we could add to small businesses is that even the big guys make adjustments, right, at times, and they shift from the original thought. So if as a small business you were pursuing a particular pathway and you decide, listen, I don't think this is working out, you can make the shift, right? So I love the fact that they have acknowledged that the bottom line is hurting because of this decision. And you're so right. It is clear that discounts is not a sustainable way to go in this market, right? In this market that they're trying to operate. It probably has a place in somebody else's market, but not in this market that they're trying to operate in. And what it will be interesting to see, because here in Trinidad and Tobago, we do have Starbucks is present here in Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean, and they're quite popular here in Trinidad. What will be interesting to see is if, and I'm using Trinidad as the example, but at any other location globally, what this shift in pricing and premium product placement does for them in those other locations. Because if you came to a location with that discount mindset and you attracted an audience based on that, and then you come and you tell them, well, no, that's not what we're doing anymore. Because remember, we don't know it as a community coffee house. That's not what we know it as. You came to this territory in a particular way. What is going to happen to them in those territories? Like I say, I could only speak for where I am now, but I would imagine it is replicated in other locations. Here in Trinidad and Tobago, like I said, we'll be starting to have Starbucks all over, and they have the drive-through. And what Michelle said makes sense, because I too sometimes go to Starbucks. I use it as a place to meet people sometimes. If I need to have a meeting, I use it as a place to meet. You grab a coffee. And what she said, yes, it's loud. It's loud. It's not as community as you say, right? It's very commercialized. Everything they have the drive-through, so it's like get in and get out. Not so much have a seat and stay. I'm not saying that it's uncomfortable, but when you compare it to the community vibes that they're trying to bring back, they don't have that, at least in my opinion. But it'll be interesting to see how this shift now impacts in other territories. If it is you're already attracted, because Starbucks is known in America, we didn't know it before. So if you're in a territory that you was only known for that, how are you going to adjust now to that audience? That'd be interesting to see.
Absolutely. Go for it, Tamara.
So I have a funny. So I got some Starbucks this morning, but where I live, there's a Foxtail downstairs, and Foxtail is a local Orlando coffee, and their tagline on their website is "Where coffee meets community." So sometimes, like if I, don't use the French press, I simply pop downstairs, grab some coffee. Yesterday, I grabbed some coffee and sat in the lobby and just worked for hours, right? The people there kind of know me. You know what I mean? They're like, hey, how are you? And it is very, very community. And then also the coffee. So I don't know. I'm drinking this morning because I was like, oh, let me just, we're doing this, blah, blah, blah. Let me be funny. And I can taste the difference in the coffee. I'm like, I had the other coffee, so the coffee isn't as good. I don't fancy myself a connoisseur, but I like good coffee. Right? And so I feel the taste. I'm just like, I would, maybe I could get a preference of what coffee I want to drink, right? Something there. So I think, yes, I think the community is missing a bit, definitely. It's going to be interesting to see how that works. When you get the right vibe, price doesn't matter. I cannot tell you the cost of coffee at Foxtail. I just know that when I buy it, I feel like I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You just kind of pay for it, right? And and they're right across from each other. So it's like comps it's like watching. And Foxtails was here first. So Starbucks just came in, but it is definitely Foxtail has the people, and that there's the locals, as Michelle talked about, right? That local brand that understands the community, knows what they're looking for, and it just feels a little bit different. It doesn't feel as fast foody, right? It feels a little bit, and Starbucks has started to move into that. Let's get it quick, let's get it out. You know what I mean? A line of people standing, waiting for for this. So yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see. We wish them good luck. We will tag them in this episode as well as Foxtails, because we really just did yeah, that's amazing. We just did a whole competitive analysis, but kudos.
Yeah, Tomorrow, as you said, local in Orlando, we also have a local coffee house here in Trinidad and Tobago called Rituals, and so it'll be interesting to see, as you talked about the competition with that. It'll be interesting to see how Starbucks copes, or how Rituals responds now, because when Starbucks starts to change their stuff here, the local coffee house, similar to Starbucks, different chains, different locations, but that is the local brand, that is born and bred here. So it'll be interesting to see how people respond when Starbucks start to roll out these premium changes. And as you said, I feel like as though, yeah, the competitor has been putting those local community vibes out there. Local community vibes.
Well, that's
So
a
it'll be
competitive
very,
advantage, right? They
It
understand
is.
the local
It
community.
yeah.
is. I'll give you something to think about too, because I noticed this, Michael. It's funny that you're bringing this topic because I noticed something when I visited home when I went to New Orleans last week. There's a renovated Starbucks near my mother's house, and I had to stop, had to do a little work, and so I stopped, pulled out the laptop, went, and I'm looking for. I was like, ugh, but I got to get this done, and I'm thinking of just stools, hard seats, cold room, the things that invite you to not stay long is what I've typically been encountering in a Starbucks location versus a local area that has nice big seats, warming, inviting, post in there, all the things that make you want to sit and stay, all the things you want to sit and stay. I walked into this one, big old comfortable chairs. There were, nice, tables that invite you to sit and talk, or if you just want to sit alone and comfortable for your laptop, all the niceties. And I just started looking around like, oh, this is nice. This is really interesting. What a change. And across the street is a local Louisiana, New Orleans coffee shop called PJ's. PJ's is a local coffee and place and community type place. And I said, let's see how this game is going to work and how this now goes around. The Starbucks came to compete. And so I think those little things, along with the upgraded coffees, are you going to start seeing Tivana in there? The things that differentiate themselves or compete better. Now they're in a space that they can compete where they used to be instead of being, the local Dunkin' Donuts coffee, and no shade to Dunkin' Donuts coffee, but it's more of a fast food type of thing. Grab your donut, grab your coffee, get out. Let's see how they make that change.
Yeah, I think it's a culture and it's a CEO thing, right? So that's what we've seen where the changes, the shifts, they've been a part of a lot of drama, Starbucks, so let's see what this new CEO does, how she positions the culture and how she, does she get this? Does she understand it? And if she does, she could be successful. So, kudos to you, and hopefully you get to watch this video. And so I'm talking to you, CEO of Starbucks. All right. So this was a great hot topic. Thank you for bringing that to us from the island of Barbados, Michael. I have to hold my mic. The island of Barbados. Boo. Sarah. All right. So we are moving on along to our other segment, our Go Beyond the Like segment. We love this segment. Oh man, what is that? Boom. That is the wrong sound effect. What are we doing? There you go. Oh, I love that so much. I do not know why, but I can't help myself. So our Go Beyond the Like segment is where we really talk about how are we going to help you move to those true strategies, right? How do you get beyond those likes and follows to that place of money in the bank? How does the strategy work for you? So we want to connect some dots here, and I'm excited because this is going to be it's a hot topic. Go Beyond the Like segment. It's like a combination. Hot topic, go beyond the likes. So today, Michelle is going to be talking about, what are we talking about, Michelle? The customer journey. So let's put it, wait, hold on. I got something for it. The 7 steps to increasing sales conversion, mastering the buyer's journey with Miss Michelle Gordon. So Michelle, this is going to be an interesting conversation because you're not just talking customer, the buying journey. You're also connecting it back to, it's like a hot topic, go beyond the likes, right? You also
It
connect
is.
back to the election, which is super relevant now. I think we have like almost no time. It's going to
We're
happen in a few days. We are here now. Oh my goodness, it's so crazy. So, all right, Michelle, go for it. Let's jump in.
we have less than 2 weeks. Well, I'm a weird kind of bird in that work and my sales and pricing brain always comes to the forefront in whatever arena I am in. And this presidential election, more than a lot of other things these days, has revealed to me a number of ways how this is actually really relevant, and lots of translation tables occur to me in small business, how we do things and the things that we talk about here in our YBID space in your business and digital about the sales journey, target audience, our messaging, our value proposition. And one of the things that I found fascinating that I thought I'd bring here to our community is one, talking about the sales journey and real life experience that we all understand and how it relates to what we do in our daily time. So let's talk about first, what is that sales journey and why in the world should you be paying attention to it? So for our community, if you've never thought about what a sales buying journey is, it's really important for you to really embrace this and lean in on this, because it's important for you to understand how it's relevant in your competitive market space and how you convert sales and actually get money into the bank. As Tamara always says, how do we get that money into the bank? Flow as much of the revenue, one, get it into the door and flow enough of it to the bottom line. It's not just your strategy. And I purposely put that here. It is your roadmap. And that's literally what I show my clients. We have a big circle and it's a roadmap. And what are the stops within from start to and through the sale that gets your client across the finish line and move your potential customers from their very initial interaction with you, understanding what your brand is, and to the point that they are not finished with you, but they become an advocate for your business. It's key for you to understand this because you're inviting people into your space. It's going to help you to effectively understand who they are, sell your product and service, and drive conversions in the long run, not just those digital customers that we speak about, but when you are personally face to face with people and when you're doing things offline, driving those sales and conversions both on and offline. So sit tight because I got a lot to talk about. Now, when we think about sales journey, I want you to understand that there are primarily three major things that you're accomplishing in every point of the sales journey. One is going to be consistent. We are always going to identify a pain, and your goal at every stage of that pain is to do three things. You want to find a resolution to that identified that pain point, what your differentiators are, what your lanyard, what sets you apart from someone else is the second thing that you want to place in every component of the sales journey. And then the third thing is a real call to action. Sometimes it's asking for the sale. Sometimes it's, that CTA is an awareness point that you want to have as an engagement place or a sales component to and through the sales process. Now, how are we going to accomplish this? Let's talk as we're going through this in relating for you. I'm going to take, as I mentioned, the current United States presidential campaign. That's going to be our case study and the examples that we use. And we're going to show how in every step of this presidential campaign, the sales journey, the buying process has been involved in this, and how the marketing efforts, how you can streamline and efficiently manage all of your internal processes to get you to that point of a higher sale. All right, Ms. Tamara, let's get this started with our first point. All right. Now, bear with me because I'm going to really geek out on y'all as we go through this, because a lot of these points are literally what I go through with my clients that we're talking about their sales process. We literally have a map, and I will go through the circular map because I stay in this space. Sales is not a start and their end. There is a sales continuum. It never ends. With your client, it never ends. They're always in your world in some point. It depends on where they start where you begin the conversation with them and where they are in that sales journey, but they're always with you. And for us, the sales journey doesn't really start with a client. It starts with you as the business owner. And we need to lay a solid foundation and prepare and get that yourself and that client ready and your team ready for what that sales journey is. And I literally tell and lean in when I'm speaking to my clients, and I said, this is your time to get your mind right, get your mind straight, and what your real conversation is that you're going to have with your clients. And ensure before you begin engaging with them that you are prepared for success. That means there's a little homework that needs to happen. And that involves identifying who your target audience is. What are the pain points that your solutions, your products are solving for? And also building your buyer persona. We've talked about this before in one of our shows, pretty much in every season. So here's your invitation to go back and watch our prior shows, because we're always talking about the pain points and building a buyer persona and really narrowing in on what your target audience or audiences are, pending your products or services. Now, based upon that, the final thing that you're going to do here is to create what your core messaging is that speaks directly to that target audience's need, their pain points, and you want to make sure that that's tailored to the different channels and touch points throughout the journey, because again, everybody doesn't start in the same place. Their point of entry into your business could be very different, and that messaging needs to be prepared for that point of entry. Now, what does that mean, and how do we relate the Harris Walls campaign to that approach? So what does this mean in this area? In their target audience, remember, I think we did 2 or 3 shows ago where we spoke, it was a hot topic, and how quickly Kamala Harris entered the presidential campaign, a very short window of time. So that was her lead. She understood her lead time for the purchase was less than 100 days, less than 100 days to election day. So that's the purchase date that we would have. And they used, by understanding their target audience, they used data to segment who the electorate was going to be based upon the demographics of that voting history and what their behavior insights told them. So they're laying a strong foundation based upon data, not a feeling, but based upon data. They identified for the campaign what the pain points were for the electorate that they were trying to attract. With that voter engagement, they were identifying 3 or 4 core things. With healthcare is a big thing for us here in the United States that we're focusing on. She focused on economic inequality, racial injustice, and those are primarily the 3 platform issues that they're focused on. So those are the 3 pain points. And they are looking to inform the voters about that healthcare proposal, how they're going to expand that healthcare to be affordable care and to protect those pre-existing conditions. Now, when I said target audience and identifying what that buyer persona was, they created voter profiles. They analyzed that data from the historical voting history, polling information, and previous elections. And what they did was they built a profile for swing voters, the base voters as well. So second audience. And then the third audience was potential Republicans who might possibly cross party lines. Now, I just identified 3 target audiences, but the next step that we talked about earlier was, remember I said, develop your core messaging and your value proposition. So the campaign has a common ground value proposition around values, their competent leadership, and unity. But their core messaging, regardless of those target audiences and those pain points, is consistently emphasizing rebuilding the economy, healthcare inequities, and promoting justice reform. So regardless of that target audience or the point of entry, the core value proposition remains the same and the core messaging remains the same. So that's their pillars, and that's their core foundation that everything else is built on. So they did their homework the same way that we as business owners are seeking for you to build your homework, build your core audience, build your core messaging, build your core value proposition. So regardless of who that person is and where they have their point of entry, you are prepared to address them at that point of entry. So I've said a lot. I'm going to stop a moment and kick it off to one of you guys. What do you think so far?
So good because I'm seeing the funnel, right? I'm like, right. Because it's just like a business, right? They got to the target audiences, and we're watching all of this happen in real time. And then as it progresses, they keep going back to the target audience to look at more data points to evolve those core messaging pieces, right? And underneath, like, so I can see like healthcare being the conversation, and then there's the Dobbs decision. There's, there are all the parts that fit within healthcare. So it's the subcategories of the conversation that's happening. It's just, oh my goodness. I can see where all the pillars and then all the topics that they're hitting on. And then now as we hear the conversation, every time the groups have now been segmented a little bit more as well too, right? It's been segmented into men, women, Latinos, Blacks, right? Whites. And so now it's like she's messaging still with the core messaging, but hitting them all with their version of that message. Here's what's important to you. Here's from an economy standpoint. So it's like, oh my goodness, content pillars to then content. Oh, so good. This is like, this is exactly what we should be doing.
Andrea, now I know that you are U.S. adjacent. It's what I like to call it. You're U.S. adjacent, and it is because it's affecting globally. The U.S. presidency, I see so much that it's not just the voting population here, but I see a lot of interest in a lot of other countries leaning in and watching what happens. What do you think about the core component of what we're talking about and how the election is relating to the sales journey so far?
Listen, I feel like I'm in school, man. I feel like I'm in school. I should be taking notes. But yes, here in the Caribbean, when we have a saying, if the US get a cold, we need to take medicine because, US adjacent, everything that happens, it falls back on us. So we are very much very interested in what's happening in the United States in terms of the elections. Yes, we have seen, at least I have seen, some of her messaging and how she is speaking to her audience. Because of course we watch the coverage of the debates and that sort of thing. It's very topical here in Trinidad and Tobago as well. But you could clearly see the strategy behind the messaging. Like I said, without getting political, you could see that there's a strategy. Not saying that the other side doesn't have one, but we're just talking about this as an example. And you could see some sort of, let me address this, as you say, to this audience. And then you go to another state and you talk about that particular state's audience, and I guess, for us here, we don't have that much complexity because we're a small island. So, we have different communities, but, in the United States, you all have an issue in one state could be completely different across the country. You all have thousands of miles dividing you, so your issues could be very wide. And it's very good to see taking on these audiences. So she will have multiple audiences that she has to say the same message to. So it's really quite interesting, how they're doing it, and the fact that they have this strategy behind it. And I can see what I'm seeing, the shape of it, as you say. I'm seeing it in terms of how they're dealing with it. So it's really quite interesting.
It is. And before I move on to the next point, we get into point two, I want to invite our community to think about this, because it is almost a point of paralysis with my customers, with my clients, as we're talking about this, because it seems so overwhelming, because many of us think we have multiple target audiences and have so many products and services, and they may have different target audiences. In this election campaign, we call it the big tent. The Democratic Party has a big tent. There's a lot of different communities of people that need to be served. But like your small business, you have a core message that your business stands on all the time. You might have several products and several services, but in the long run, what you're trying to accomplish across every one of those different products or services is a similar message and communication when they walk out of your door, or when they receive your product, that you want them to understand about your business. And that's no different in this election. I found very fascinating because it's so relatable to what we encounter. We have different walks of life that are coming in for many of us. We have different men and women. We may have different age groups. We may have different education types that are coming in, and we need to be able to address how they receive information, but in the meantime, communicate our value proposition, why we are resolving their pain, and speak that core message to me and how I receive it. It's going to be different from how my husband receives that message, or T, or Andrea. So we have to still give the message, but in a way that that personality receives information at the time of day they receive it, and how they need to absorb information. That's what we're saying here in that buying journey. And as we relate it to the campaign, there are multiple different things, but healthcare is important to all of them. How is it important to them? You know, your product or service is important to a lot of different identified target audiences, but where do you need to go to give that message, and how are they going to receive that message in that space? All right, we're on to point 2, and this is the awareness and attracting attention and educating your community. So at this stage, your buyer, your potential customer has recognized that they do indeed have a problem. They have a need that needs to be fulfilled, but they don't quite know yet what that solution is. So your goal in this space is to not sell them something right away. What you're trying to do is to introduce your brand. You want to build interest. You want to make them go, tell me more. And you want to surface level begin addressing their pain points through different mediums. You maybe an online targeted ad, through SEO. We've talked about search engine optimization here in this space, your newsletters or blogs or vlogs. So the goal here is to begin to allow them to know you, know your brand, and to begin walking down the stage close to being the trust factor. Now, let's talk about how the Harris campaign is utilizing in step 1 of the buyer journey, where you're interacting with the client. So it's step 2 in the process. They've identified, again, one of the pain points that we talked about was urgent healthcare issues that we're having here in the United States. 3 things, remember, that we're talking about in every stage of the journey. What's the resolution? They're trying to inform voters about their healthcare proposal and how they're trying to expand affordable healthcare and protecting pre-existing conditions. So that's the pain point that they're trying to resolve, and that's the resolution and that actionable insight that they're trying to provide to that potential client. They need to differentiate. You need to differentiate yourself from the competition. So the campaign, their differentiator is that they're saying that they are the only option to protect and expand healthcare versus reducing or removing affordable healthcare from the voter community. And the third piece, that call to action. They have within all of their information, click here to learn more about the Harris-Walz healthcare initiatives. So, team, what do you think so far of where we are for the awareness and attracting attention stage?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I just want to be like, whoa. I'm like, preach, because it's I've been watching, but I had not been dissecting it like this. And now it's like it's like, oh my goodness. It seems like you're like, I can't unsee it now. You know what I mean? Like I bit into the apple. Eve. So wrong. But yes, I can't unsee the strategy. I cannot unsee the strategy. And I'm like, right, that's the awareness. Here are the pieces. Because with everything people are saying, and so they're taking in the message, and then they're like, okay, you'll learn a little bit more. And the people who are first and want to learn go to learn. And then it's kind of like, okay, well, how many more people do I have to educate? But then, and how do I educate them? So go learn. And yeah, it's but the core messaging doesn't change. So, I mean, yeah, great point.
What she said. I know. I really like how you I really like how you brought it together. In terms of that educating and attracting. As Tamara's saying, you can't unsee it now, right? Every time you look at it, you realize, oh, there is that strategy behind it, and you could see them trying to differentiate themselves. You see it in their messaging, the way that they're handling things, the way that they're putting out their messaging. So, yeah, let's go. Let's go. Next point.
All right, let's talk about point three. We've moved on a little bit. So I think as you're driving or walking around a circle, we're just moving along. We're on the next stage, and this is the consideration. We are your potential client is evaluating your solution, and at this stage, they've already identified the problem, and they are researching hard. They are trying to understand what options are available to them to resolve that pain, to fulfill that need. And here is the place that your business provides educational content. And you are explaining why you and your solutions or your products are the best fit for them right now. So they're not quite ready to buy yet, but they want to understand more. You're building trust with them at this stage. You're being helpful. You're offering help to them. And you're also dropping detailed information through different arenas, either a product demo, try this. You want to offer a competitive comparison in many instances. So think about product lines where you've seen a comparison chart. This is a place that's great for you to show testimonials, or in B2B cases, you might want to show case studies, or which is really important these days, is live chat. Be available to answer questions that someone may have as they are showing your products or services. Now, the Harris campaign showed, again, let's use the healthcare pain point as the place of reference, but their resolution or actionable insight at the consideration stage was to share detailed policy papers and fact sheets that would allow their voters to evaluate their position against their opponent. Their differentiator that they're showing in the campaign is during debates and interviews, they were providing differences between them and their opponent on healthcare issues and their stance and how they were protecting their potential voters' healthcare versus, and it is an us, not us versus them, or here's your choice and this is what we're offering versus this is what the competition is offering. And their call to action was, scan this QR code or download our free fact sheet. This is important, and this is for our businesses that it's time to be real bold and put your chest out there and say, yes, I am the best for you, and here's why. And confidently put that forward, either verbally if you're in a space where you're having this conversation with someone, or online, brag about your business. This is why you're good, and we're so good, and we can serve your need because remember, this is what this person said. The reviews and testimonials are a great place for you to do that. All right, ladies, what are your thoughts?
The consideration, the evaluation, the solution, the competitive. I just did for one of our clients, we actually just did a competitor chart, right? So we actually created it. We're like, here's the client, check, 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 check. Here are all the things that they do. Here's the competition. Here are the things that they don't do that the client does. And so we're using it because we're running Google ads, and we are developing a landing page as a new part of the strategy where people that are coming in understand, hey, we kind of do it all, right? So that the client actually does all the things, and each one of these may do one of the two things, right? So they do kitchen sinks, and so they fix the granite, they do all of it. Usually a plumber does one and another person does the other one. So now this is like perfect, right? So they marry that together. So most people don't understand that. So we're trying to let them know, hey, you can get it done all in one. And it's a big deal, I guess, it's a big deal to not have to replace your countertops, right? So, and it's cost effective. So we're highlighting, so that comparative chart is great. And I love how, evaluating the solutions, because based on each target audience, the solution may seem different, but it's all about the repackaging. So when you have, and sometimes we have to do this at Monovan too, we have something, we have a service, and we're like, oh, great, let's pull this piece of the solution and let's pull this piece of the solution. We're not changing what we do, but we're adding the right mix to give it to that audience. So perfect.
And I love that this is what businesses do all the time, right? We're using the campaign as an example, but every day this is what your customer is doing. Your customer, whether they know it or not, they're always evaluating some sort of option. We spoke about in our hot topic today, we spoke about Starbucks and price. Even if a customer makes a choice by price, that's them making some sort of evaluating in their mind. So you need to understand, I think what the takeaway I'm listening here is, be very particular, or at least make sure you're providing the right way for them to evaluate. So you spoke here, Michelle. You said that their action is download a fact sheet. So they're sharing facts. That's how they want to help you evaluate. What are you need to think about, what is your customer doing? Is your customer evaluating based on price, or is your customer evaluating based on quality? So do you need to compare and show that you're better because you offer better quality, or are you better because you have a superior product, or you're just better in terms of price? So I think it's just highlighting that we always doing this evaluating, and I think the takeaway is you need to understand how your audience is evaluating, so that you present relatable evaluation options.
True, true. And I invite us all to think too, the evaluation process isn't always between you and the competition. Sometimes it's you versus you within your product set or your solution set. Which one of these should I choose? So I often go back to what my brother calls the cult place, Apple products and the Apple iPhone or the MacBook. Which one do you want to choose and which one is right for me? So Apple literally puts up a comparison and they will tell you, here are the features, and there's a check mark or a dot that gives you the indication of which one is, what's included with that particular, product that they have. So sometimes that evaluation process is they're just about choosing you. You don't quite know that yet, but within your products that allow them to easily evaluate the differences within your product set so that they can then make that next decision. So there's an evaluation difference with you and the competition, but also sometimes within the product lines that you have, if you have similar things that you're offering to that same target audience. All right, the decision making that we have, and so your goal here is to make that choice easy. So as you're thinking about maybe a circle, and we're trying to go from start to finish, we're past the halfway mark at this stage. We're getting close to where the client is, and at this stage, they know what they want. They've done all their research. They understand the product that they want or what that resolution needs to be, and they're trying to make their final decisions either between different providers or within you and your specific product lines. So here is where you want to demonstrate why you are truly the best choice, and you have to lean in hard and be really bold about your business at this stage. You want to highlight your really special, unique selling points of what your lanyard, which you're something extra. Provide FAQs at this stage. Personalize your email sequences or your text reminders to encourage that final decision making. And here's the place where appropriate, and that's key. Those two words, where appropriate, the limited time offers, or if you have seasonal promotions that may be able to push that hesitant customer closer to that conversion place. So here's where the Harris Walls example is coming to the table for the campaign. So in this instance, I'm going to change that pain point for a second. We're at the place where in these last 2 weeks, it is truly overwhelming. We are being bombarded with the plethora of options that we have at the table for this election. And we may need some final clarity on that best choice. The Harris campaign, their actionable insights and resolution was providing their comparative ads. So that's all we're seeing now. There's a lot of campaign ads. They're spending quite a bit of money delivering to us a comparison versus their opponent. They are backing it with endorsements. So think about the number of reviews that you're served up so that you can see, or the pictures that shows the product that somebody has purchased and how much they're enjoying it. And they're coming from, in some places, well-respected people. So sometimes that's why you might see endorsed by a very well-known person or an influencer. You'll see that now in social media. Think about that. Or they're really, really pushing the reviews and testimonials. And thirdly, that differentiator. They again use the debates. They're using interviews to differentiate their vision from the competitors. They're doing a lot of town halls. There's a lot of people that are doing interviews all over the place, and a lot of sound bites that are giving that information that's saying, here's why I'm the right choice for you. And you can do the same through text messaging, through pop-ups that are being served, through your emails and text messages to show your differentiators and to promote you and that final decision. Sometimes because we'll leave something in the cart because life gets busy and then we get off track. So we can remarket and send reminders like, don't forget to buy those shoes that you put in your cart. Just those little things to make that choice easy, to click there and make the purchase. Now we're going to move on to 5 because we are moving, got a lot to cover, and I'm really passionate about this, as you can see, because I can talk about this forever. Purchase, number 5 is the purchase and completing your transaction. So now this is where I jokingly say this to my clients, like, it's time to marry me. We've been dating long enough. And, we've got to figure this out. So at the purchase, they are actually making that buying decision. They're completing that transaction. So you want to make this seamless and easy for you. So your goal at this stage is to ensure that your process is seamless. It's simple. You want to offer multiple payment options. You have clear calls to action, and your product pages are really simple so that you can avoid the dreaded cart abandonment at this stage. You want to give clear instructions on how to purchase, make the chat available or a place that you may be able to offer help if this is in person. Read the room, read the signal so that you're ensuring that this part is not your point of failure. The Harris campaign, here's the examples that they're doing. So just to give you a live example of it. Again, the pain point, going back to what the voters are having to do, they might need logistical assistance in order to cast their ballot, either in person or if they're doing a vote in, a mail in. There's could be quite a lot of confusion as we are moving into this. Remember, for the United States, our last presidential election was in the midst of COVID. So what you were doing then, that could, in such a distant memory in our, microwave society, that was decades ago versus just 4 years ago. So how do we help people that might not know? The Harris campaign, their resolution and their actionable insight was to use, again, targeted ads, emails. They're meeting people where they are. If it's text reminders, looking on YouTube, providing interactive tools to help the voters to understand where their polling place location is or how to register online. We're beyond the registration point because we're literally less than 2 weeks out. Their differentiator is that they are focusing on accessibility. They are giving clear step-by-step guides to ensure that their supporters know how to vote and where to vote versus discouraging people and gloom and doom from voting. It's a very positive way in showing your vote matters, go out and vote. And their call to action has been really simple. They put a QR code. They're like, just put your phone up, scan the QR code to find your polling place, or go to this website, or here's a phone number to call to make your vote count. All right, ladies, what are you thinking about that so far?
I love it because it's so simple. Because a lot of times as business owners, we think about the product and how good it is, and we think about all the other things and the website, and it would be a shame after you do all of that the customer does not know how to buy and finish, or the customer got lost at that point of the journey and you made it confusing, or you have the point to purchase has friction. So I love the fact that as you use the example, they're giving them step-by-step guide. Here's how to do it. So because I think that's a part in real life in businesses we don't address enough. Literally, how do I do it? Do I click here? Do I call you? Do I need to pay? These are simple questions that you might think people should know, but your customer may not, and your customer may need that step by step information to help them choose you.
I feel like I'm in church because yes, that process, you're the customer hat is on all the way through this process, right? And it's not, yes, the business goal is to get people to vote and to elect her president, but the customer journey is really focused on the individual voter who is like, okay, here's what you need to come along through my funnel, and let me show you, let me make your life easy for you. Because I always say, right, when we're in front of our phones or computer screens, it's just us. We're super selfish. So we're just like, what? How is this about me? And so all the way they have to make it, this is about you. This is about you. This is about you. This is about you. I see you. You. Because once you get them down your funnel, you've already gotten them to a point where they're aware of you. They know a little bit and they're like, all right, let me come in and see what she has for me. So you're just kind of reinforcing that message. And I love that, really, really so strong points.
I am going to combine the last two together because, again, I've overtalked myself into this thing because I love this topic so much. But we have the last 2 points that we're working through are the post-purchase, building a relationship. And then the seventh one and the final one is the advocacy. You want to turn your customers into ambassadors, and those two kind of work hand in hand. What I missed saying at the top of this that's really important for us to embrace, and it's going to make a lot of sense when I speak about these two, is that when we are looking at our target audience and the community of people that are coming through our sales funnel, it's because we've invited them into our world. We choose our customers before they choose us by all of the information that we're putting out there to attract them to us. So we are actually either inviting them in and say, come along on this this buying journey for us, or let me help you to, self-qualify yourself out of this world, out of my business world, because you're not quite my target audience. Now, you've done all of this work and gone through those, 5 stages to get to this space where now they have invested money in your business. And the first one, as we talk about the post-purchase and building that relationship, because this is where the true heart of the relationship is developed, because we don't end when they sign or give you their money. We're still nurturing the relationship and encouraging repeat purchase or advocacy at this stage. So you're supporting them through either onboarding materials, tutorials for a product they may have purchased from you. You want to do some service follow-ups, engaging with follow-up emails through emails, a text message, through social media, your loyalty programs, and you're trying to build a long-term relationship. Hand in hand with this, as you're working through this, and the rest of your team, actually, because from a sales perspective, you've handed it off to post-purchase team, that the implementations and the ongoing service team. You're trying to, at this stage, also turn that customer into an ambassador for your business. And what does that mean in this space? Again, I spoke about the sales continuum. There's a hard start, but there is no hard end to this. There is a continuation. They may not purchase that product from you or have that service for a given reason, if that's the way that your product or service works. However, they may come back for something else, or you may want them in your space to provide a review or a testimonial, or to speak about how well something's going in the midst of them being implemented, or the very infancy of them enjoying your product. So you want to invite them and encourage a review, a referral, or to create shareable content that's going to allow them to show themselves as a satisfied customer to the buying community that's out there. How often are you seeing, especially in the social media space, somebody showing off, their new shirt that they purchased, or, trying to get you to buy perfume because they're trying to exude the smell across the screen to you? That's the same thing that you want to do in your space post-purchase, and show that you value your customer. Now, how does the Harris Walls campaign do this? in the post purchase area. We are literally in that space here in the United States because in many states, early voting has already started. One of the things that we often find is that once a voter has voted, and many of us as an early voter, they may begin to feel disengaged or unsure that their vote has made a difference, or feel disconnected and want to still remain as a part of the movement of the campaign, or be involved in your product or service moving forward because they are enjoying what's happening. So what their resolution has been so far is to send personalized thank you messages. Sound familiar, guys? Thank you for your business. Doing a social media shout out to someone, acknowledging a purchase, or in this instance, shouting out a state, or as they're early voting, looking at the numbers, providing continuous updates and plans. Think of the times where you're saying, here's something new that's coming down the line for, Monovan Digital. They're differentiating again, the campaign from their competition. So they're showing the voters that they're going to be held accountable, and not just when they're providing their vote, but through election day, inviting supporters to remain involved. They are saying, stay connected with us locally. Make sure that you are staying involved with your community, and in sharing their voting experiences. If it was really easy for them to cast their ballot, how simple things were to encourage others to do that as well. And then their call to action is not just to thank them for their vote, but here's how you can stay engaged with this mission, or here's how you may stay involved locally. Or on the other side, the call to action is, be involved for lasting movement. So they're trying to show that you are not just appreciative, but this is what you've done. Here's how you've supported the campaign, and then pass the message along. We are all doing that in the business, and this is really relevant. You don't just say thank you for your business and see you whenever. You want to still keep in touch with them, because sooner or later you may have something that is now relevant to them, or that they may pass along to someone else that is important to your business, to keep the room warm, as we say, versus having to always reach out and get a new client. An existing client, the cost to your business is much lower than trying to get a new person to and through that entire sales buying process all over again. You've got them. They can probably start at stage 3 or 4 versus starting all the way at stage 1 again. So ladies, what do you think about this so far? Mr. Barbados is back.
I am, and yes, I was sweating.
Oh, Michelle, this is so good that I am just like, my mind is blown. And I think, what we really got out of this is, the fact that in this election, you're able to pull together a strategy, a customer journey, and the customer journey for your business is really, really important to think it through. You want to think through all the steps. You want to make sure that customer hat is on, and you're not just thinking about your business goals. Every step along the way of the campaign, they put the customer first. And I love that you were able to pull this together. So kudos to you, Michelle, for getting this done.
Yes, absolutely. Great show. I'm glad I could at least listen in. Sorry, I couldn't be there, but being in Barbados has its challenges, right? So, but an important conversation. Glad that we had it. As you were just saying, it's necessary to work out the steps, and it's an iterative process, right? So you need to start so that you can start optimizing. We always want to just get to that, get it done so you can optimize.
Go, Andrea.
Listen, what this truly demonstrates is guys, this is running your business is not a race. It's not, it's not overnight anything. Everything has to have this structure and a journey. And the sales journey is an important journey. It's the journey that literally leads you to money in the bank. And once it's executed well, once you implement all these different stages well, you will see the success. And what I like about how we approach this discussion is that basically, um, we've shown you the different stages, and we've been able to take something that could happen short or happen long, but show you the stage anyway. Because depending on your product or service, this journey could happen in a month versus it could happen in 6 months versus it happens immediately right when they probably go into a store. So just be mindful that what we've discussed here is for any business. You can take what we've discussed here and apply it in your business, and take the journey to money in the bank.
True. And what I want to invite here in our community to understand, as a final of the takeaways is, now I have made it so that no matter what space that you're in, you're going to think about the sales journey and everything that you do right now. So as a reminder for our key takeaways and our 7 steps, the first is to make sure that you're prepared with a strong foundation, identifying your target audience and your core messaging. 2 is going to be your awareness. Use your digital marketing to make your business known, get your name out there, and set your business apart from your competition. In the consideration stage, you're trying to build trust. You want to give a comparison of either your products or how you differentiate and set yourself apart from your competition, and provide reviews. At that decision stage, you're creating a sense of urgency. You're trying to drive action and get that client to say yes to your product or your service in your business, invest in your business. At the purchase stage, key, make sure that you are ensuring a smooth buying process to close that sale as quickly and seamlessly as possible. You're still setting an impression for your business. Make sure that it's easy for them to make that sale. Now, post-purchase, you want to keep your customers engaged, and you want to make sure that you're supporting them ongoing and communicating with them on a regular basis. And finally, in that advocacy place, you want to turn that satisfied customer into a vocal brand ambassador for your business. There is nothing like getting someone to purchase from you for you and from you because someone else, a complete stranger in many instances, said, I enjoyed the product, I enjoyed my experience with this business, and you too should invest in them. So in the long haul, for this buying journey to drive sales, you want for your business, and we want you to take away from here that this sales journey, if it's optimized well, you are positioned to not only convert sales, but to build that lasting relationship with customers. And you're delivering the right content at the right time, in the right spaces at each stage to build that trust and to convert the sales. And it will help you to sustain your business and grow that revenue and your bottom line in a sustainable way that will be comfortable for you and your team long term. So I hope everyone enjoyed our session today. You won't get this out of your head now. I don't care where you are, you're going to think about the sales journey and everything that you do now.
Hocus pocus. There you go. You're like, now you live rent free. It's a good rent free, though. I want you to live rent free in people's heads because this customer journey is well thought out. Michelle, kudos to you. This was a masterclass. The fact that you see a customer journey in everything is hilarious. A sales funnel and everything. And just the relevancy. This is super relevant. I mean, Google would love you today. You're like a keyword. Just relevant.
I'll take that. That's my lanyard. That's my differentiator. How I, show you, you're something different. You're a little something extra. That lanyard's coming through today. Right. Thank you very much.
I'm saying this was awesome, awesome, awesome. So thank you so much for doing this, guys. This you heard it today. We at Your Business in Digital want to make sure that you are getting the strategies, and I mean this strategy here was completely outlined for you. So you got to tell people about the show. I mean, you have to tell people about this show. We're gonna tag the we're gonna tag the Harris Walls team as well too, because they need to know about this show. Everybody needs to know about this show. So here's where you can connect with us. Connect with us on YouTube at Your Business in Digital. Connect with us on LinkedIn at Your Business in Digital. We're everywhere podcasts are found. We're on Apple, Spotify, all those spaces. Definitely connect with us. Tell a small business owner about this show. Tell a business executive about this show, a CFO, a CMO. We want to help you connect to the money in the bank. We want to help you achieve your business goals. We want you to look at these strategies as real strategies. Digital is a space where you can go back to that CFO and say, hey, digital helped me increase my revenue by 10%, by 20% year over year. You can work with your sales teams to get them marketing qualified leads that they're able to go and talk to who are ready to make that transaction. And then you want to make sure that the operations is set up all the way through so that you're able to get to that place of the post-sale, the advocacy, all the things that we talked about here today, all the things that Michelle talked about in her masterclass. So thank you so much for joining us here at Your Business in Digital. We'll be back next week. Tell people about this show. Have a great one. Take care, guys. Bye. Go for it, Michael. End the show.